Templar, give me the power, I beg of you.
Excuse me, if you're gonna play that banger, you gotta play the best part.
Close your eyes and count to 7. When you wake, you'll be in heaven.
Hello Chucky fans, thanks so much for clicking on this video. My name is Chucky Boy. Episode 5 of the Chucky TV series has now premiered. The title of this episode being Little Little Lies, and they finally starting to blend in old faces from the franchise about to meet some of the newer ones. So what I'm going to do here for you guys is giving you my breakdown of episode 5 of the Chucky TV series, pointing out little Easter eggs you might have missed connected to the Child's Play franchise, speculating on what could happen next since we still have a lot of unanswered questions, but really just giving you my spoiler review, and I'm gonna need you Chucky fans, part of the cult, to also leave your opinions down below. Again, apologies if comments are turned off. Like I said, since the show is mainly underage kids, YouTube flags this video as kid content, which is ridiculous, man. How can they think that? I'm a grown man talking about my favorite doll. Oh. Alright, so a little cleaning up of the house before we get to this week's episode. Last week there was a lot of confusion amongst fans whenever the Sci-Fi Channel premiered episode 4 of the Chucky TV series. At the end of it, when they revealed a character from the franchise, Eddie Caputo, for some reason, if you watched it on the Sci-Fi Channel with subtitles on, it read as Andy Caputo. Here's a screenshot of my episode that was saved from my DVR, and it clearly says Andy Caputo, and that's why in my previous breakdown I mentioned the name Andy Caputo, and I just thought, oh, I guess maybe that's just his real name, and he has a nickname Eddie, kind of like Charles and Chucky. But no, I was later contacted by some people involved with the show who watch these videos, which, hey, thank you if you do. We're loving what you're doing. But they did go ahead and let me know that in the script, it is supposed to be Eddie Caputo. So it should be no question about it. It's not a cousin, a relative, or a nickname for that character. That is 100% Eddie Caputo. All right, so now diving in shot by shot with episode 5 of the Chucky TV series, we open up with a flashback scene to the 80s in Hackensack, New Jersey. And we find ourselves in a nightclub where we have adult Charles Lee Ray, either looking to see who's going to be his next victim or who could be his latest love interest. And like a lot of you, I was blown away with the actor they chose to portray Charles Lee Ray, because obviously it couldn't be Brad Dourif since he's up there in age. So I totally understand the need of getting a younger actor to play some of these iconic roles. But what really blew my mind, and the thing I didn't notice until the episode ended and you watch the little how this episode was made behind the scenes that Sci-Fi shows, is that this is actually Fiona Dourif, Brad Dourif's real life daughter, aka Nika from the franchise, who wore some prosthetic makeup and just basically acted like her dad. Wow, that was a brilliant choice, and I think it paid off. I know some people were kind of thrown off with the dubbing, because that is not actually Fiona Dourif's voice. That is Brad Dourif's voice being dubbed over her.
It's a shame your friend had to run off like that.
It did catch me a little off guard, but honestly, I didn't mind it. The voices are the most iconic part of some of these characters, so if you can't have their physical selves be there, I'm fine with their vocal selves being in it. We see Charles Lee Ray grow fond of this girl in the club named Delilah because she's being a little rougher than most girls. This obviously attracting the attention of Charles and then building a relationship with her from there. From there, the flashback scene ends and we cut to Caroline, who is still in the hospital recovering from the smoke in her lungs, where the first thing she asks for when she awakes is to see her best friend Chucky, and man, he don't look the same as he used to, scaring Caroline so much that she wants her father to just throw away the damn doll. Leading us to Two-Face Chucky being thrown in a bin of used needles, in something that should be very disgusting and horrifying, but Chucky absolutely loves this, and this is why we love him.
God, I love hospitals.
Making that the cue to cut to this week's title card sequence, which is filled with a bunch of real hearts and fake hearts. And right now, I'm gonna say this is probably my favorite title card opening sequence. I think it just looks awesome and really goes with the theme of this episode, because we're seeing some relationships blossom, we're seeing the origins of other relationships that we've known of, and we're even seeing some relationships fall apart. Bringing us back to the hospital where Lexi wants to go ahead and ask her little sister, hey, where's your Chucky doll? I'd love to go take it out to buy some stickers. Her sister then getting upset at the mention of that ugly Chucky doll, and her parents starting to backlash a little bit to Lexi. We're gonna get more of that throughout this episode, but I am really kind of loving the dynamic they're throwing in here with Lexi's parents and how they're kind of split on how to handle their troublemaking daughter. And speaking of character relationships that I love that they're pulling off here, this new teen trio that is going after Chucky freaking fantastic. Well, I'm still not 100% on board with the Lexi train and forgiving her for everything she's done. And again, that's just the personality of this character. That's not a comment on the actress herself because she's doing a great job. The chemistry between these three characters and how they're talking to each other about how to handle going after Chucky, how to fight him, having their personalities shine through, I think was so well done. And now I can see everything that the show was building up towards with these guys. Lexi still having a bit of her rude, stuck-up personality shine through. Then you have Jake and Devin having time to show flirtatious eyes to each other, but want to get down to defeating Chucky. I thought this scene in itself was awesome. And then you get to the classroom scene whenever the teacher steps out to talk to Devin's mom. They quickly get in a little circle and they start talking about what their possibilities are. And I just love that. It kind of reminds me of how I felt as a kid watching the Chucky movies and in my mind going, okay, what would I do? Would I call the police? Would I tell my parents? How would I defeat Chucky? And that's kind of what we're seeing done here. They're trying to figure out what are the rules of Chucky? How does he live? How does he die? Who can we tell? What should even be our plan? All questions that kids their age who meet Chucky for the first time would probably be asking themselves. Even the dilemma they have on whether to tell Junior or not, I thought was handled really well, because of course, he's not gonna believe it. Made me feel a little sad though when he tried getting into the conversation and talked about Westworld. Oh, I've been there, Junior. People don't like everything we like. But after they're dismissed from that classroom, we do get a little bonding moment between Jake's character and Devin, who are now finally starting to connect a little more and explore their relationship, which I do think is very adorable and is being handled pretty good on the show. From there, we get to Lexi's family finally entering their house after the fire, seeing the aftermath, and getting down to some family changes. Not just that, but Lexi's mom, as the mayor, Michelle, feels it is her duty to also make the town feel safe and kind of putting them as a priority over her family. This is where we start to see a parenting divide between Lexi's parents, where Lexi's mom wants to kind of make up for the brat she is and all the things they let her get away with for 14 years and just go full throttle with the hard parenting, while her father feels like maybe they should still be a little compassionate and go with a much nicer route of handling their daughter. I really like that conflict they were having, because I'm honestly at odds at which parenting style they should even go with here. Of course, they kind of raised Lexi to be a monster with being a little neglectful with her and letting her just grow up to do whatever she wants. But after 14 years of doing that and just going 100% harsh parenting, I don't think it's gonna work all that well. And at the same time, just being overly nice isn't gonna work either. Still, it created a great drama dynamic between the parents that I was actually interested in. From there, we do see Lexi's compassionate dad still wanting to please his daughters, and one of the things that was making his youngest daughter upset was the loss of Chucky, so he took it upon himself to get a brand new Chucky doll, aka Tommy. And yes, my Chucky fans will know that this is a reference to Child's Play 2, where Andy Barkley was sent to a foster home, and in that foster home, the family had a Chucky doll that went by the name of Tommy. I thought that was a great little Easter egg that they brought back, and man, Tommy just cannot catch a break, because just like the way Chucky beat up Tommy in Child's Play 2,
Hug this!
Lexi, as soon as she sees the doll, thinks, I gotta beat up that damn doll too. That was honestly a great reaction that Lexi had, because to us, the audience, it makes sense why she did that. But without any context, her parents just think she finally went crazy. Jumping over to the house of a different family, we cut to the Wheelers, who are having dinner, where Junior's father decides to let him know, even though he's still recovering from the smoke in his lungs and won't be able to race for a while, he pulled a few strings so that his son can skip regionals and go straight to nationals. It seems very obvious that Junior just is not interested in the athletic lifestyle that his father once had, which explains why he's just not thrilled at all at the fact his father pulled the strings for him. But in the middle of this discussion, we do see Jake's phone start to blow up as Lexi's letting him know that a new Chucky doll has popped up, creating a snowball effect that eventually leads to Junior's dad kind of showing some signs that he's not so different from his brother. That wasn't even one of the most surprising parts of this dinner for me, because right after Jake and Junior leave the table, we see Jake's aunt, Bree, mention that she thinks it's probably not a good idea to have Jake in the house, and I was like, what? The dude's dad died. He's got nowhere else left to go, and you want to kick him out? I know he's acting weird, but he's still family. Bringing us to Two-Face Chucky, who has made his way back to Lexi's home, only to find out that Caroline does have a new Chucky doll with her, and we already know what is going through Two-Face Chucky's mind.
Give me the power, I beg of you.
I do just want to point out though, I love this shot of Chucky through the window with the rain. Just one of the many great visuals we get throughout the series. From there, Lexi's dad does go ahead and check on his daughter, only to find the two-faced Chucky doll that he threw away be in his house. Obviously very confused, he still thinks the best course of action is to throw it away in the trash. Again, another callback to Child's Play 2 where Chucky is thrown away in a very similar garbage can. Thankfully though, Lexi did inform the trio that heck, let's just call them LDJ, Lexi, Dev, and Jake. I think it has a nice ring to it. LDJ. On the case. And LDJ decides to take this opportunity of Chucky being trapped in the trash, putting him in a sack, and then stomping away at him until he's nothing but pieces, having us say goodbye to good old Two-Faced Chucky. You will be missed, my friend. The trio, not understanding the rules of voodoo just yet, think they have won this battle, feeling a bit relieved and like they can continue on with their lives, even sharing a very sweet moment where Jake and Devin have a first kiss that again, I think is adorable and is being handled well on the show. Bringing us to more flashbacks of the nightclub sequence where Charles Lee Ray has partnered up with the psychotic Delilah to go after some victims, setting their sights on a mysterious red-headed character that they convince to go back to their hotel room. Here we kind of get an idea of what Charles Lee Ray and this Delilah have been doing probably for a couple of days, where they've just been picking random victims in the nightclub, taking them back to the room, convincing that they're just gonna have a little fun time. Only thing that changed this time around is this particular victim was not afraid at all at Chucky holding a knife, catching the attention of Charles Lee Ray and him just loving him some crazy girls. Decides that he's kind of tired of his old toy and wants to upgrade to a new one. Bringing us to the transition of us finding out that this is actually Tiffany Valentine, aka Jennifer Tilly's character, as we can then see her iconic voice starting to dub over this actress. Now, I'm gonna say a couple of things about this scene. One, I do like this being the idea of how Tiffany and Chucky met for the first time. It doesn't ruin anything with the characters, it doesn't take away any mystery, they're both just crazy people who found each other and fell in love from first kill. But some of the odd parts about this is they did such a fantastic job with bringing Fiona Dourif as young Charles Lee Ray that looks identical to Brad Dourif, that in contrast to this actress to playing a young Tiffany Valentine, she just looks nothing like the character. And then the odd decision to have Jennifer Tilly's dubbing only halfway into this sequence after she's murdered somebody just kind of really caught me off guard, and I was like, wait, what's happening here? Is this even a flashback scene? I was honestly so confused for a moment. I was like, oh, maybe this isn't a flashback scene and it's present day, and Chucky and Tiffany are currently inhabiting the body of two other people that just kind of look like their younger selves. But no, this is still a flashback scene, and that is young Charles Lee Ray, and that is supposed to be Tiffany Valentine, and this was their first interaction. It seemed pretty obvious that the show wanted to surprise us with that reveal that this was Jennifer Tilly, which is why they didn't have her iconic voice dubbing over this actress from the beginning. But I gotta admit, it was a bit of a confusing situation. But after that cool flashback sequence, we then cut to a therapist's office where we see Jake's aunt Bree finally letting us know what this big secret is that she's been hiding from her entire family. A lot of theories of what this could be. It seemed very obvious that they were trying to pin her as maybe she was having an affair, or that she is the mysterious character that Chucky is going after, which we still don't know what Chucky's mission is here, and we got like 3 episodes left. But the bombshell reveal is that Jake's Aunt Bree actually was diagnosed with cancer. And since it is stage 4 cancer, it looks like it's inoperable, and it's just a matter of time before Aunt Bree passes away, whether that's in several weeks, a few months, maybe a year or two. Now, she could still very well be a character connected to Chucky's past, but something inside me tells me that this was just the only secret she had, and it will just be an interesting little thing that gets revealed later on in the show. Bringing us to the hotel where Chucky and Tiffany fell in love for the first time, only it's present day, and we get a steamy situation of beautiful Jennifer Tilly and beautiful Fiona Dourif going at each other in front of their latest victims. And as a longtime Chucky fan and someone who's been dying to get answers after the end of Cult of Chucky, I love this part of the episode and was really the highlight for me. It seems very clear in this situation they tricked 2 random strangers to come back to the hotel room with them, thinking they're gonna get busy with these beautiful girls, only of course to become their latest victims. And before the show gives us an explanation for our new audience members of who these characters are and how they fit into the Chucky world, we do get 2 little Easter eggs from the Chucky franchise that I think are really funny inside jokes. Is one, we get the continuous line thrown out there that Tiffany's character loves to do, and that is quote her mom.
My mother always told me, never let a man cock block you from what really makes you happy.
My mother always told me, love would set me free.
That's just something her character loves to do, is constantly bring up things that her mother has told her in the past. And heck, just a little extra tidbit for you, Chucky has admitted that he was the one to kill her. But another subtle one that maybe not a lot of people caught is the ongoing joke of Don Mancini fat shaming Jennifer Tilly. Now, before I go into this, it should be noted, Don Mancini and Jennifer Tilly are like the best of friends in real life. They get along really great with each other outside of the movies, and I feel like you have to be best friends to do these jokes. But back in Seed of Chucky, it was a joke that Jennifer Tilly's character was gaining a little weight and she was struggling with her diet, to where Don Mancini even had a little cameo in Seed of Chucky where characters in the movie were asking, where could we find Jennifer Tilly? And Don Mancini yells out, check the catering table.
Does anyone have a 20 on Jennifer?
Check the catering truck.
And then here in the Chucky TV series, we get playful little jabs at that, with her mentioning that food makes her happy and that's why she's eating a lot. And then Chucky himself just calling her fat.
Jesus Christ, you're always hungry. Eating makes me happy. Go get fat then.
Don, man, why you gotta do my girl like that? She's beautiful either way. I love you, Jennifer. But after we pass from those inside jokes, we see Chucky go ahead and start to taunt his victims, only for then Nika finally pops back up. This is where the show tries to do its best to explain to new audiences who these characters are, where if you're not familiar, a quick summary of their history: a long time ago, Charles Lee Ray fell in love with the mother of Nika, so much so that he murdered her husband, kidnapped her when Nika's mom was pregnant with her, and Charles Lee Ray was willing to raise a baby that wasn't his, only for the cops to find where they were at. Charles Lee Ray, being so angry at the situation, decides to stab the pregnant stomach of Nika's mother, causing her paralysis and why she's in a wheelchair. And because we know Chucky has completion anxiety, where he feels like he has to always go back to finish the job, he eventually does in Curse of Chucky, where he kills Nika's entire family, but does not get to Nika, instead frames her for the murders of the family, putting her in an insane asylum, where Chucky, of course, makes his way there to finish the job. And in Cult of Chucky, it was revealed that Chucky has a new power where he can split up his soul into multiple doll bodies and human bodies, eventually putting his soul in Nika's body and being able to walk away. So that's why you see Nika's character is collapsed to the ground, because her soul is now the active member in that body and she's paralyzed. And I know Chucky fans love to argue about the logistics of how that works. How can Chucky take over a body that's paralyzed? But if you want to get into that territory of being technical with Chucky's powers, how does he make a doll without any bone structure walk? It's just that whoever soul inhabits the body eventually takes on the characteristics of that body, and well, Charles Lee Ray Chucky can walk and Nika can't. But I love that this scene was included in here, not only to explain to new audiences who Nika is and her importance to the franchise, but it also is a hint that there is a limit to this new Chucky power that he has, where he splits up his soul. That was one of the only little criticisms I had about Chucky's new power, is that it just seems like it overpowers Chucky and now he could just endlessly be alive. But to see now that the show is maybe introducing a bit of a weakness where there's a limit to how much he can split his soul and in fact control that body if another soul is in it, I think is really great for the show to do. Bringing us to another great ending for a Chucky episode, where we have the parents of a lot of students gathered together in the auditorium, where people like Lexi's mom, the mayor Michelle, and Devin's mom, the detective, are gonna talk to the townspeople of Hackensack and kind of put them at ease at what exactly is going on and inform them of this serial killer. And right before Devin's mom could give an explanation to what exactly is going on, they introduce the principal, who head rolls her way on stage, revealing to the town that she's been murdered right in front of them. Although it's not as awesome as Chucky giving the finger to our main characters, this was basically the exact same thing, letting them know he's still alive and out there. But also, it should kind of let Devin's mom know that Jake isn't the killer, because right as these parents were lining up into the auditorium, you saw the principal alive, greeting everybody, telling them where to pick their seats, including Jake, Lexi, and Devin. And Devin's mom had her eyes on Jake in front of her the entire time. She's got to go ahead and realize, wait, it couldn't have been Jake who's the killer if he's right in front of me, and whoever the real killer was behind me killing the principal this whole time. It's also worth pointing out that the trio did try informing Junior that Chucky's alive, him obviously not believing it. I wonder if after seeing the principal's head roll on stage, he'll start to believe them or just shrug off the situation. Still super exciting to get some answers for next week's episode, especially since we're going to see the return of Kyle and Andy Barkley. Woo! Let me know what you guys thought of episode 5 of the Chucky TV series. Was this an episode you enjoyed? What was your favorite moment? Do you like the way they're blending in the old and new characters? Any criticisms you have about the show? Would love to hear all about it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at 3C Films. But as always, I'm Chucky Boy. Take care.